Aquarius, good morning. Happy 12th day of March. Happy day 71 of the year. How are you feeling this morning? Hopefully you woke up well rested after a good night of sleep. It's another beautiful day here in Veliko Tarbino in Bulgaria. A 365 Tao, day 71. Our word for today is entertainment. So let's see what the book has to say about this topic of entertainment for us on this 71st day of the year. If you have your books, open them up to page 71. Find a nice quiet and comfy place where you're not going to be disturbed for the next 15 minutes or so while we read together, remembering that 15 minutes is just 1% of your day. So carve out 1% of your day, 1% of your morning to start your day off with intention. Get your books ready to read, get your journals ready to write in, take a nice deep breath in, with a long exhale out to get relaxed and ready, and let's start reading together on day 71. Our word for today is entertainment. The mind that turns ever outward will have no end to craving. Only the mind turned inward will find a still point of peace. It seems people never tire of seeking new thrills. They crave entertainment and they want newer, sharper experiences. Events do not even need to be actual. People are more than content with recreations, displays, and stimulating machines. Music must be amplified. A historic location must have museums, shops, and festivals. Life must have elaborate ceremonies with images, music, speaking, dining, and drinking. Followers of Tao regard all reality as being projections of our minds. That's a really interesting way to think about reality. I'm going to reread that and have a think about it. Regards all reality as being a projection of your mind. All phenomena are subjective and relative. Therefore, it is folly to further entangle ourselves in confusion. True reality lies in withdrawal from the swirling variations of the outside world. It lies in looking within and then slowly peeling away the layers of subjectivity. What will remain is not a core or objectivity, but a kernel of truth that absorbs rather than reflects. If we enter into this kernel, our minds cease to continue their habits of creating stimulating realities, and we enter into a silence that feels perfect and whole. So that is an interesting way to think about the concept of reality, right? And as we often say, we're all unique individuals. Yes, we're all humans, but we're all having a very unique human experience. And as such, we're all going to put our subjectivity onto anything that's happening. And when we say subjectivity, we take all the things into consideration. We take our personal experience, our personal belief, even things like our geography, our culture, our religion, all of those things interpret what we are seeing as reality. And that's why it's really important to remember that just because you see something a certain way, that's because you're filtering it through your lens of reality. And it's not necessarily going to be the same thing or the same way that a person who might be standing next to you looking at the same thing filters that reality, because we're all filtering things through our own unique filter system, and that's what subjectivity is all about. So the way I see reality might not be the same way that you see reality, and it doesn't mean that either of us is right or wrong. We're just different, and we're having a completely unique and different human experience. So I guess really what that is really coming down to is like having compassion for other people, understanding that differences don't necessarily have to be a bad thing. They're not good or bad. They're actually impartial. They're just different. And you don't always have to disagree or start a war or have a disagreement with somebody over something just because you don't see eye to eye. You can just agree to disagree and not have to get upset about it, because everybody is living in their own version of reality. So that's something to think about as you move through your day. Perhaps if you do come up with a situation where it could be confrontational, perhaps somebody has a very different viewpoint to you, perhaps you don't see eye to eye with somebody, Try not to get upset about it. Try not to label it as good or bad, and just accept that it's, a different filtration system and that person doesn't see the world the same way you do. So I invite you to reread this chapter in your own time. Highlight any of the sentences or passages that resonate with you and take those as a journaling prompt to write out. And if something comes up today that is, a point of difference that could potentially be confrontation, catch yourself in that moment and realize, hey, this doesn't have to be a bad thing. This doesn't have to be a problem. It's just different, and that's okay. So thank you so much for being here for 71 days. It's always great to start the mornings with you. Have a beautiful, beautiful day 71, March 12th of 2026.